A parent group in Fairfax County, Virginia, is calling out the Fairfax County schools for violating Governor Youngkin's policies on transgender issues in a guidelines for families labeled Student Rights and Responsibilities. Here to discuss the dangers of these violations for students is the Director of Outreach for Parents Defending Education, Erica Sansi, and former Vice Chair of the New Jersey Federation of Republican Women, and host Money Talk with Melanie Collette. Erica, let's start with you. Tell us, now, I say this as I mentioned before the break. I had a couple girls that graduated. I graduated from Fairfax County School many years ago. So I'm a fan of the quality of education. I'm not a fan for how the politics are shifting. Explain what's going on.
So what we have in Fairfax County, and it's not only there, we are certainly seeing a national trend, is that the governor has really stood up for parental rights. He is leaning into the guarantee under the 14th Amendment that parents, have a right to direct and guide the upbringing and education of their children. So when he made changes to the gender policies, it was largely because he knew that parents were being deliberately deceived, that in those policies, it meant that not only could students change their names or go by different pronouns, access different restrooms, access different locker rooms, and play on sports teams that did not align with their biological sex. But it also meant that parents were totally kept out of the equation. He has said no more, and the school district is absolutely saying that they are going to defy the new model policies.
Melanie, we keep hearing so many stories about more and more kids saying that they're trans. I actually got an email from a viewer saying, my granddaughter is trans and she's gone through all this therapy. What should we do? Asking me for advice. So these are a lot of these parents and grandparents, they're well-meaning. Why are the kids so confused? Growing up, I never heard about any of this. And now it seems like the last 2-3 years, it's all we're talking about.
It's all we're talking about, and the fact that they're talking about it in schools is problematic. Reason 3,795, why I'm no longer in that environment. They're indoctrinating kids. These are things for families to handle, not for schools and teachers to be handling, in my opinion. But the public school space is an area where they very strongly believe that the kids belong to them and not to the parents, and that your family values don't matter, and that you shouldn't have the final say or input as a parent into what your child does and what kind of treatment they receive.
Yeah.
And all of those things. It's a very dangerous situation. And I seem to remember a time, and I looked it up right before this hit to make sure I wasn't crazy, when you were not allowed to expose your genitals to people who would have a problem with you exposing your genitals to them. But now that's no longer a thing for our girls in the locker room,
Yes.
In any of those types of situations where they might be exposed to male genitalia.
You covered a lot there, and I want to address it specifically because I couldn't agree more. And I wanted to get a concrete example, and that's one of them. Because on the guideline, it talks about how students will be able to use whatever bathroom or locker room they feel comfortable in and not be stigmatized by using it. Now, I thought of it in a completely different way, Erica. I thought of my daughters who played volleyball being in a locker room with a male, or at least someone who has male genitals, in the same locker room. I would be irate if I knew that was going on, yet they are allowing it. I don't know that it's happened, but they will allow it.
You are absolutely correct. I think that people really need to understand that many of these policies and concepts, they're wrapped up to sound benign and even compassionate. But what they do mean is that if a male says that he is going to use or wants to use the girls' locker room or play on the girls' team, it even says it doesn't only have to be for gender identity. It literally said, or for any other reason.
Yeah.
They're told that they have a right to do that. And they're also told that they have a right to do all of these things in school without any notification or disclosure to their parents.
Yes, and that's we'll leave it there with the final word. Melanie, from you about how Terry McAuliffe was running for governor, and he kind of made it sound like, yeah, the educators, they decide what's going on. It was like parents had no. He lost an election because he wasn't listening to the parents. And
you know what the
Go
real
ahead.
reason he lost the election, Bob, is because he told the truth. As someone who's been in the classroom, I can tell you all the training says that. They tell you that as a teacher, you're way more important than the parent. You're the most important person in that child's education. They have been doing it for years and years and years. This is not new. All he did was told the truth. And he should have lost for that very reason, because that is the truth.
All right, Erica, Sanzi, and Melanie, Collette, thank you so much for joining us.